Hey everyone, it's me. Who else would it be? Getting like so irritated. Cause okay, like if I record stuff straight from my webcam, it tends to come out a little sketchy on YouTube. Like I just tested, like did a test video where I was like, oh, and I didn't hear the volume or the audio break up. But like when I upload it onto YouTube, it seems to break up, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Hold on. Sorry, it's Paul. Okay, I was gonna. So no, I am. Is there enough? He's coming over to say goodbye. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I seriously, like, I was afraid he was going to move at first. And I was like, you cannot move to Tucumcari. I was like, because I just kind of paid $900 rent here, and I just can't pick up and move to Tucumcari. He's like, what? And I was like, my home is where you are, okay, bitch? I cannot live in Albuquerque if you do not live in Albuquerque. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, I wouldn't even, I mean, I love Albuquerque, don't get me wrong, but I just can't imagine not living, you know, like near him. First off, because he does so much for me. And I know we have our bickerments, and I know he does stupid stuff, but then he makes it up to me, you know? Like, he totally tried to sabotage Bubba and I, and, you know, in the long run, it turned out to be for the best. Because he kept on telling me not to do it, and he was like, well, fine then, I'll do this. But then he paid me back, you know? So it's like, oh no, he means well. He's just an idiot sometimes. Um, so yeah, I don't know. And plus he's like the only reliable person I know down here. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mark is awesome. He's just not reliable. Albuquerque seems to have a lot of people who are flakes. And I tend to end up being a flake in, what's the word? Like a domino effect. I can't get a ride to go do something because somebody promised to give me a ride, and I promised to give them money to take me to do this, and then I can't do that, so it makes me a flake because I can't send out a package that I promised to send out. Yeah, sort of thing. So yeah. Okay, I rambled about 3 minutes for that. I was just getting so frustrated because I was trying to record this video on YouTube and it kept on messing up, and I thought I'm like, there's a conspiracy. YouTube does not want me to talk about my past. Like, seriously, there must be something that has gone on in my past that's like top secret. Like, maybe I've been brainwashed and I'm really like, um, in witness protection or something, and my past is all made up. I don't know. um, Sorry. So I was gonna talk about 97 through 2001, and I was like, no, I don't want any awes, but nothing really big happened in 2007. I mean, 2000, that time period from 17 to 21. That was like, oh, I mean, it kind of sucked because I lived in Florida and it was hell and I hated it. Um, I mean, I was living with my fiance in a trashy trailer. And I hated every minute of it. I loved him, but I hated living there. And yeah, I had met my ex. I mean, now he's like, you know, oh, we were engaged or whatever. So I don't know who that is. Oh, well, sorry. You guys have priority over work right now because I'm worked out. Somebody wanting me to log in to night flirt or whatever. Um, Okay, so I don't know, when you give a girl a ring and say you want to marry her, in my opinion, that makes the person your fiance. But yeah, okay, so I met him through his cousin, who is like this long haired, weird freak who is all into Jesus and a virgin, and he's 21 and he like dating 15-year-olds. Anyways, and he still would want to date a 15-year-old if he could, other than the fact that he's like 37. Yeah, I don't talk to him anymore. So, okay, we were friends. I was too chubby for him, but we were friends. He was like my best friend, and I had the biggest crush on him, and blah blah blah. And we hung out like all the time, and we went to church together on Tuesdays and Sundays. And one day we went to go get some free pizza from his cousin who worked at Little Caesars out in Waukesha. And yeah, I saw his cousin. I was like, oh, I was like, oh, because he was totally my type, and he was younger than his cousin. He was only like 18, and I was 16, and I was like, hi. And he had long, blonde, hippie hair, and kind of chubby, but cute, you know. He had the big blue eyes, and yeah, he was into heavy metal, and he I was like, oh my god, I'm in love. But my friend at the time was all like, oh, he's a slut, he's been with like 5 girls, and I'm like and at the time actually he had a fiance. So yeah, and we talked, we hung out a couple times after that, but he did have a girlfriend type fiance thing going on. Okay, so yeah. So yep. We hung out a few times, and then like one day, my friend Kurt, he totally like went to go do something. And he gave the phone to me, and it was his cousin Floyd. I know, what a hick name, right? Bubba and Floyd, the only 2 white guys I've ever been serious about. Sorry, Anthony. So yeah, okay. So we ended up talking for like an hour while Kurt was doing whatever the hell he was doing, and we exchanged phone numbers. And his fiance and him had broken up anyways. And then a couple times we did like a 3-way phone call with Kurt and Floyd and I. And okay, I totally left out the story where I'd like met Kurt. So, you know, like those back in the day, a lot of you guys are probably too young to remember this. The people more my age will probably remember back before the internet. Way back in the day before the internet was popular. I'm gonna turn the oh, I don't want to do that because Paul text. I'll just turn it down low. Back in the day before the internet was popular, there were these things called chat lines. They were telephone numbers you could call, and some had like large chat rooms where they'd be like 6 to 10 people in a room, and they'd be all talking about stuff and a lot of arguments. And then there were like bulletin board ones where you could like get involved in discussions, and you'd have a profile. It's kind of like Facebook but on the phone. And not like on a phone app, but like this is even before cell phones. This is back in the day of pagers. Okay, so yeah. You know, you'd actually have to like talk, you know, like get on a discussion board and be like, yeah, blah 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 blah. And you didn't know what people looked like except from what their description was on their profile. Like, I'm 5'8" and 160 pounds, which translate into I'm 240. So yeah. You're supposed to be 18 to go on these things. I was totally calling them from the age of like 14. And I was 16 and I was on this one, Talk Salad. So yeah, that's how I met Curtis. But yeah, and Floyd wasn't into that whole chat line thing. But I remember he had called a few times after he had broken up with his fiance, and he knew I called them, so he would call and talk to me on them. Anyways, because I didn't really meet a lot of people off of them. But like, I just went on there to like talk and goof around, and I used to like go on there trying to catch my ex-boyfriend so I could talk to him. So yeah, um, yep. So yeah, that's how I met Floyd. We ended up hanging out one day without Curtis, and we totally had sex the first time we hung out. I was bad. It was like, and then after that, it was just a relationship. It was that fast. It was like 2 weeks after that, we moved in together. I moved in with him, and then about 2 months after I moved in with him, he like was losing his place, and plus his dad was sick in Florida. He had a heart attack. So we decided we were going to move down to Florida, and he was going to help take care of his father. So yeah, we did. And we lived with his father for a while, and I'm not a very social person. His father's a very social person. I was very shy, reclusive, like I am now, and his father hated it. He did not like me. Finally, we got our own place, and his father still hated me, and he hated that I didn't have a job, but like I did have a job at first, and then after a while, Floyd like didn't want me to work, so I didn't, and I stayed home and I cleaned the house and I made dinner, and I was always waiting for him when he got home from work. He came home on his lunch break, and sorry. He came home on his lunch break because he worked 12-hour days, and I had a lot of time at home by myself. No internet, no telephone really. We have a phone sometimes. We didn't have a TV for a while, and we did. So sometimes it'd be really boring, and I had pen pals. That's what people did before the internet, pen pals. So anyways, okay, so I had pen pals, lots of pen pals. And we had a dog. She was a black lab / pit bull. She was so cute. I have pictures of her somewhere. There's pictures of her on my Facebook. Her name was Star because she was all black except for a little white 5-point star on her chest neck area. And she was about a year tall. She was not as big as Flapjack. She definitely had a pit bull build, but a black lab fur and look. She was the sweetest thing. First year that I had her, though, she was a bitch and she hated me. So, but then she got pregnant and she had puppies and she calmed down, and me and her became like best friends, and she was so well trained. I could walk around and I didn't need a leash. We lived in a trailer park, so I just walk around the trailer park without a leash. And she'd chill with me. She'd sleep with me because he was gone all the time, like 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day. And I could put my food down and go out of the room and come back, and the food would still be there until I told her she could have it. She would not eat it. And very great dog. I would actually love another one of her. Kind of Flapjack reminded me of her a lot, and I think that's why I got so attached so fast. God, I miss that dog so much. I miss him. But I did find out the apartment has a 35-pound limit on dogs. He was definitely not. So, but yeah, okay, so Star, awesome dog. So yeah, and I had a few jobs here and there. I mean, I worked at Taco Bell for a few weeks, and I worked at Arby's for a while, and worked at this grocery store called Winn-Dixie, this grocery store called Cash and Carry. So, I mean, I had jobs here and there, like when he'd get laid off he mostly got laid off. When he didn't have a job, I would have a job. But when he had a job, he wanted me to work. Or didn't want me to work. But when he get laid off, I try to find a job and stuff and get money. Also, so when I was working at cash and carry, it was towards the end before I left. um, I worked there for a while, and I would get frustrated because he wouldn't do laundry and he wouldn't have dinner waiting for me when I got home, and I was getting pissed. He just sit at home and play PlayStation. This is back when PlayStation was the big thing, not PlayStation 2, not PlayStation 3, PlayStation. The original. So yeah, and he had this chair he wouldn't let me sit in. He hated when I sat in the chair. We're still friends, sort of. I mean, we're on each other's Facebook and we talk, and my family loves him. And he's just too extreme for me now. He's all like even more redneck than he was before because he stayed in Florida after I left. He didn't go back to Wisconsin until I believe 2007. So he even has the twang and everything. He has like a million guns, this big redneck truck, and he wears camouflage all the time. He was kind of like that back then too, but I thought it was sexy back then. And yeah, I'm not so into white boys anymore, especially after Bubba. Okay, so yeah, he dates like girls online now, like from the Philippines. He's engaged to this girl, this Filipino girl, and that he's never met. Whatever, to each their own, right? This is like the third one. I don't know. Whatever. But we're still friends, and he still does stuff for my family. Like he'll come over and like paint my mom's siding or whatever. And my aunts will pay him money. Sorry. So a lot of that time was like I would spend on chat lines and writing pen pals, and that's actually how I got to move to Tucumcari in 2001, where I met Paul. But yeah, so had the pen pals, and some of them were living in Mississippi, and I wanted to leave Florida, and Floyd was like, "Oh, we're gonna go," but he didn't want to like leave his stuff. I was like, fuck it, let's just go. It's miserable here. It's always hot and humid and nasty, and the mosquitoes are huge, and the roaches are huge, and they fly, and the spiders are as big as my hand, and it sucks. We live 3 miles from anything, so yeah, I hated it there, and we never had a car, so it's like I used to ride my bike like 3 miles to work. I remember one day this car backed into me. It just drove away. Like, really? And I had to call into work. I like went the rest of the way to work because work was closer than home. And then he had to wait until his father would let him borrow the car to come get me. I was like, I was hit by a car. Come get me. I'm not going to work today. Because I'm limping. Like, my bike is all fucked up. I also remember this one time I had sprained my ankle, and he pushed me home in a grocery cart from Taco Bell. We both worked at Taco Bell. And he pushed me home in a Winn-Dixie shopping cart so I wouldn't have to walk the 3 miles. Yeah. I really loved him at the time. He was a good guy. I mean, like, he had his issues. Like, he wouldn't leave Florida. But, just things. I was 21. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with him. And there were things I wanted to do that he had, I wanted to see more and do more. And I just was like, oh, I gotta go. So, yeah. Yep. So that's what happened there, and then I took off. Finally, one day I was like, we got in a fight, and I'm like, whatever. I'm leaving. I'll believe it when I see it. And then my friends from Mississippi, they moved to Tucumcari, and they're like, we have an extra bedroom. I was like, well, Floyd's never gonna leave, and we broke up, and we were trying to live together. And I was just like, you know what? We got in a fight. like, I'm leaving. I'll believe it when I see it. I got the bus ticket, so I need a ride tonight to the Greyhound station. What? Yeah, rent's paid. You know, I gotta go. Here's my stuff's boxed up that I can't take on the duffel bags with me. Peace. Send it to me eventually, which he never did. He ended up hooking up with the girl that was like my friend down there, the closest thing to a friend I had down there. A few weeks after I had left, I was like, what the fuck? She was like the town slut. She was a horrible person. I'm not saying she was a horrible person because she was a slut. So do not get me wrong, I am not slut shaming. Some of my closest friends are sluts. No, and they're proud of it. So I'm not naming any names. You know who you are, and I love you. I mean, they call themselves sluts. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're proud of it and you own it and you don't do it behind people's backs. But this slut, and that was the derogatory version of slut, married him and lied to him and slept with about 150 guys while they were together without telling him. Now that is wrong. If you're gonna be a slut, either let your husband know so he can be like, okay, fine, I'll be a slut too, or I'll be a cuckold, or whatever. Okay, that's what I'm saying. But if you're gonna be a slut, either be single or be honest. Own that shit. And then she had like a 5-year-old kid who was still in diapers, and like, I don't know. And she lived with her father who molested her. She was like 34 years old and still lived at home and did meth. And I was like, wow, okay. Like, I don't know. To me, that's just messed up, because I'm just going to say it, and I know it's towards the end of the video. My father, okay, I was not living at home at, I was not living at home at 34. I was not living at home at like fucking 16. Okay, and my father wasn't even there anymore. So, for all you people who are like, why was your father in prison? There you go. I put him in prison at the age of 15. For that reason right there. And thankfully, my mom never got back with him when he got out. So, like, thank you. It was really hard because she hated me for years. And like, between the ages of like 15 and 16, I was not home because we would not get along. We would fight every time we saw each other, pull each other's hair, chunks of it, like, you know, and she would get calls from him constantly and write him letters. And well, he was in jail waiting for his trial, and then she got him out. He wasn't allowed in the house, but she would see him and he would drop her off. You know, and I'd be out looking out my bedroom window. And I'd get so mad, like, at her for dating him. Like, you know, when he was out on bail or whatever it is. I'd get so mad. He'd drop her off and be sitting outside. And I'd be like, motherfucker, you're less than 100 yards away from the house. I'm gonna call the fucking cops now if you don't leave. Then my mom would get all pissed off at me. I was a bitch, okay? I'd be like, you need to leave now, you fucking asshole. I was like, don't make it, because my bedroom was on the 3rd floor. So, you know, it was like, I was like, I'll come down there. Call the fucking cops. You better leave now. I don't care what you do when you're not here, but you don't fucking linger when you drop my mom off. Anyways. So, yeah. I'm gonna stop this video because it's super long, and I may get into more of my past later. I do want to do like some makeup challenges and other stuff too. So it's just stuff for me to do that isn't too crazy. No ghost chili challenge. Sorry, I've heard people die from that. You know, and try to stick with stuff that I can do by myself. I mean, I'll try to do stuff that I can do with other people when I get the chance. Like when Mark comes over or whatever. Maybe one day I'll be able to convince Paul to be on a video. Hell might freeze over first. I have videos of Paul, but I can't post them without his permission. I won't. I'd love to, but I won't. Because, you know, he's a very... I mean, if he knew I was saying his name in some of these videos, he would probably get mad. To be honest. Oh well. He'd get over it. I mean, there's a couple videos of him on YouTube. You know what? I'm gonna link them on the bottom of this video. I'm gonna link the videos that I know he's in. I know he's in a video with one of his ex-girlfriends too at Denny's, but I don't know how to find it. I might be able to. But I'm gonna post the two that I know about, so you can see him. Okay.